Imagine for a moment that fear did not exist. Imagine standing on the edge of your dreams with nothing holding you back. Not doubt, not hesitation, not the trembling whisper of what if. What would you do? How would you act? How different would your life be if every decision you made was driven by boldness instead of caution? You see, the secret is not in waiting for fear to disappear. The truth is, fear is a liar dressed as a protector. It wears the mask of logic, of safety, of caution, but behind that mask is the thief of progress, the enemy of destiny. And the most powerful weapon you have against it is this: act as if you have none. Act as if you are already the person you are striving to become. Speak with the confidence of someone who has already succeeded. Walk with the posture of someone who knows that every step is part of a divine design. Move like a person who believes the universe is working for them, not against them. When you act as if you have no fear, something incredible happens. You start to rewire the mind. The subconscious, that great silent engine that governs your beliefs and behavior, begins to obey the image you project. It doesn't question your act, it follows your lead. If you act strong, it makes you stronger. If you act courageous, it breeds courage within. That's the education of transformation, not in waiting to feel ready, but in behaving as though you are. Understand this: nothing of greatness was ever accomplished by the timid. History does not remember the careful, it remembers the bold, the ones who dared to show up before they were fully prepared, the ones who risked failure in the pursuit of purpose. And those who triumphed were not those who had no fear, but those who refused to let fear dictate the terms of their existence. When you step into action as if fear has no place in your life, you are not denying its presence, you are denying its power. You are taking authority over the voice that tells you to shrink. You are declaring with your every move that your purpose is bigger than your panic, that your destiny is louder than your doubts. Education, in its highest form, is not the gathering of information. It is the reprogramming of identity. And the fastest way to shift your identity is to behave in alignment with the future you desire, not the past you fear. You don't wait to feel courageous. You do the courageous thing. You don't wait to be successful. You act successfully. You don't wait for proof. You become the evidence. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. So let today's vote be cast not in hesitation, but in certainty. Let your choices shout that you are done negotiating with fear, that you are here to build, to rise, to claim what has always been within reach, but never within grasp until now. So go with power, go with clarity, go with the audacity of someone who knows the clock is ticking and the world is waiting, not for the cautious version of you, but for the fearless one, the one who acts not as a victim of fear, but as its master, the one who does not ask, "What if I fail?" but instead declares, "What if I fly?" Here are 6 key points drawn from the speech. Fear is an illusion disguised as protection. It appears as caution or logic, but its real role is to block progress and paralyze action. Acting without fear reprograms the subconscious. Your mind follows the lead of your actions. By behaving boldly, you train your mind to become bold. True transformation comes from identity shift. Growth happens not by waiting to feel ready, but by behaving like the person you aim to become. Bold action outweighs timid preparation. History remembers those who took risks and moved forward despite uncertainty, not those who waited to be perfectly prepared. Deny fear's power, not its existence. Fear may still be present, but you choose to act in a way that strips it of its control. Every choice is a vote for your future self. Each action either reinforces the person you've been or builds the person you're becoming. Choose boldly. Fear is one of the most deceptive forces we face. It doesn't always show up as a monster in the dark or an overwhelming panic. Often it comes quietly, disguised as reason, disguised as safety. It whispers, "Be careful," or "Wait until the timing is right," or "You're not ready yet." It wears the mask of logic and wraps itself in the appearance of protection, convincing you that it's helping you avoid danger. But what it's really doing is keeping you stuck. It's not protecting you, it's preventing you. The problem is, fear rarely announces itself directly. It creeps into your decisions, your conversations, your dreams. It convinces you to play small, to shrink your vision, to settle for less. You think you're being cautious, wise, or responsible, but in reality, you're just responding to fear. And that response, over time, becomes a habit. That habit becomes a lifestyle. And suddenly, years have gone by, and your greatest ideas, your boldest dreams, your truest potential has been locked in a cage built by fear disguised as common sense. You don't need to wait for fear to disappear. That's the great misunderstanding. Many people wait for the fear to go away before they move, speak up, apply, launch, build, or believe. But fear never fully leaves. It adapts. It changes shape. So the goal is not to eliminate it. It's to expose it for what it really is. A false alarm. A shadow with no substance. A wall made of paper. Once you recognize that fear is not your protector but your prison, everything shifts. You begin to see that the decisions you avoided weren't actually dangerous, they were just unfamiliar. That the risks you ran from weren't deadly, they were necessary. And that the comfort you clung to was not peace, it was stagnation. When you act in spite of fear, or better yet, when you act as if fear has no voice at all, you take back your authority. You begin to trust your inner strength more than your external circumstances. You start to lead your life rather than react to it. And that one shift from reacting to fear to acting from purpose can change everything. Because fear only has the power you give it. Once you see it clearly, once you name it for what it is, it begins to lose its grip. And in that moment you are free, not because fear is gone, but because you've stopped letting it decide who you are. The mind is a powerful servant, but a dangerous master. Most people live their lives waiting for their feelings to change before they take action. They think, "When I feel confident, then I'll speak." Or, "When I stop being afraid, then I'll go after that goal." But that approach keeps you locked in place because feelings follow action, not the other way around. The secret lies in understanding that your subconscious mind, the part that controls your automatic behaviors, habits, and beliefs, doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's repeated. It believes what you consistently act on. This means if you begin to act boldly, even when you don't feel bold, your subconscious starts to adapt. It takes your actions as evidence of who you are. It thinks you're moving forward, you must be confident. You're standing tall, you must be powerful. You're speaking with conviction, so you must believe in yourself. It rewires your inner programming based on how you behave, not based on how you feel. And that's the key to real transformation. Most people make the mistake of waiting for confidence before they step out. But confidence is not the cause of action, it's the result of action. You build it by doing the very things that scare you. Every time you act with courage, even when fear is present, you send a message to your brain. I am in control, I am capable, I can handle this. Over time, those messages become beliefs, and beliefs become your identity. This is how you take back the steering wheel of your life. You stop letting your emotions dictate your movements and start letting your movements shape your emotions. You stop being a slave to hesitation and start becoming a master of momentum. When you act as if you have no fear, even when fear still lingers, you change your inner dialogue. You interrupt the old script that said, "You're not enough," or "You'll fail," and you replace it with action that says, "I'm here, I'm ready, and I will rise." You don't need to fake who you are. You need to activate who you really are. The boldness is already inside you. The courage is there, waiting to be called upon, and the fastest way to call it out is through action. Not someday, not when it's safe, right now. Act as if you have no fear, and eventually, fear forgets how to find you. Transformation is not just about changing your habits. It's about shifting your identity. Too often, people try to improve their lives by adjusting surface-level behavior while keeping the same beliefs underneath. They try to act disciplined without seeing themselves as disciplined. They try to succeed while secretly believing they're not worthy of success. But lasting change doesn't come from behavior alone. It comes when you begin to see yourself differently, when you adopt the mindset, posture, and actions of the person you are becoming. This is where the real power of acting as if comes into play. It's not pretending, it's not faking it. It's training your mind to believe something new by behaving in alignment with it. You don't wait to become fearless, you act like someone who is. You don't wait to be successful, you carry yourself like someone who already is. The shift happens the moment you start behaving like the version of yourself that lives on the other side of your fears, doubts, and limitations. Your identity is shaped by repeated patterns. What you think, what you say, what you do. When you change your actions, you start feeding new thoughts. When you repeat those actions consistently, your brain begins to say, "This must be who I am now." That's the turning point. You stop dragging the weight of your old story into every opportunity. You stop being bound by the version of you that was too afraid, too uncertain, too hesitant, and instead you begin to embody the version of you that says, "I lead, I grow, I show up." People often underestimate how powerful behavior is in reshaping belief. You can read every book, watch every video, and plan every move, but until you take action that challenges the old version of you, you remain unchanged. Transformation happens when your actions are no longer trying to match who you've been, but who you're becoming. That's when growth becomes automatic. That's when confidence begins to rise because it's backed by evidence. This is not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about remembering what's already inside of you and proving it through action. The version of you that's bold, focused, and fearless isn't far away. It's just on the other side of a decision. And when you start behaving in alignment with that version, when you start living from your future identity instead of your past limitations, you don't just change your life. You change who you are, and that changes everything. The world does not reward hesitation, it rewards boldness. While many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions, those who make real impact are already moving. They are taking risks, speaking up and stepping forward, not because they have everything figured out, but because they refuse to be paralyzed by uncertainty. If you study those who have accomplished great things, you'll find a common trait. They acted before they felt ready. Playing it safe may feel comfortable in the short term, but it comes at a high cost. Missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, and a life of what-ifs. Those who wait for everything to line up perfectly usually end up watching from the sidelines. The truth is, perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it is just another form of fear. Bold action is the only way forward. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. This doesn't mean you act recklessly. It means you trust that clarity comes through movement, not stagnation. Every bold step you take brings feedback, growth, and momentum. When you move, the path begins to reveal itself. When you sit still, all you see is doubt. You don't get more confident by standing still and hoping for courage to appear. You become confident by acting while afraid and realizing you are stronger than your fear. The world remembers those who dared. It forgets those who waited. You were not created to play small or to shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. You were designed with power, intention, and potential. But that potential is only unlocked through risk, through decision, through motion. Playing it safe may protect you from failure, but it will also protect you from greatness. Every bold action sends a message to the world and to yourself. I am not here to survive, I am here to thrive. You were not given dreams to tuck them away for someday. You were given dreams to act on them now, with urgency, with courage, with fire in your soul. No one who changed the world waited until the fear left. They changed the world because they acted anyway. They made the leap while others made excuses. And that is your invitation, not to be reckless, but to be relentless, not to be fearless, but to be faithful, to the vision inside you, to the mission ahead of you, and to the future that is waiting for your boldness to unlock it. Fear is a natural part of the human experience. It shows up when we step into the unknown, when we pursue something meaningful, when we risk failure or rejection. But the problem isn't fear itself. It's how much power we give it. Most people think they need to eliminate fear to move forward. In reality, you don't have to destroy fear. You just have to stop letting it make decisions for you. Fear will always try to sit at the head of the table in your mind. It wants to steer your thoughts, your plans, your next step. It thrives on control, feeding off uncertainty and hesitation. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't have to leave for you to move. You can feel it, recognize it, and still choose to act. You are not denying its presence. You are denying its authority. When you deny fear's power, you shift the balance within yourself. You begin to realize that fear is only as strong as the attention you give it. The moment you stop bowing to it, it starts shrinking. You see, fear loses its grip when it's confronted with action. It may shout louder, but its voice gets drowned out by movement. Every time you take a step despite it, you weaken its influence. This is not about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about declaring that it no longer gets to run the show. You can acknowledge fear without obeying it. You can hear its warnings, then choose courage anyway. That is true strength, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let it lead your life. And when you do this consistently, something incredible happens. You begin to build a new identity, one based on trust, not trembling, one rooted in power, not panic. Fear may still whisper, but you no longer listen. You stop seeking safety and start pursuing significance. You stop managing risk and start creating results. Most importantly, you stop negotiating with fear as if it's an equal. It's not. It's an echo from the past, not a guide for the future. It can only survive if you keep feeding it with your attention and obedience. The moment you starve it through bold action, strong belief, and relentless movement, it begins to fade. You don't need fear to disappear to become who you're meant to be. You just need to stop giving it the permission to speak for you. Let purpose speak instead. Let vision lead. Let courage take the microphone, because fear has had your attention long enough. It's time to change the voice that drives your life. Every action you take is more than a task. It's a message to your brain about who you are. Whether you realize it or not, every decision, every step, every word is casting a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. This is how identity is formed, not in the grand declarations, but in the quiet consistency of your choices. When you choose courage over comfort, you cast a vote for becoming bold. When you choose discipline over distraction, you vote for becoming focused. When you show up, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, you vote for becoming resilient. Over time, these votes build evidence. That evidence becomes belief, and belief shapes your identity. People often struggle with change because they try to force behavior without changing identity. But real, lasting transformation happens when your actions align with the version of you that already exists inside, the one that's powerful, purposeful, and fearless. The more you act like that version, the more real it becomes. You begin to say, "This is who I am now," not just, "This is what I'm trying to do." But the reverse is also true. When you delay, doubt, or shrink back, you're still casting votes just for a different version of yourself. One that hesitates, one that hides, one that accepts less than they were born for. Every action either reinforces your past or rewrites your future. So the question becomes, who are you voting for today? This is why action matters so deeply. It's not just about getting things done. It's about shaping who you are becoming. You're not waiting for confidence to arrive. You're building it with every bold decision. You're not waiting for fear to disappear. You're proving it wrong, one step at a time. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to keep casting votes for the future you believe in. You have the power to outgrow your old story, one action at a time. You have the authority to shift your identity from limited to limitless, from hesitant to unstoppable, and it starts with simple but intentional choices. Wake up early, speak with confidence, set boundaries, dream bigger, move faster, speak louder, love deeper, lead boldly. Each one a vote, each one a step, each one a declaration. This is who I am now. Your future is not shaped by chance, it's shaped by choice. And today is your opportunity to choose the version of yourself you were born to become. The message of this entire speech is clear and undeniable. Fear is not your master, it's your mirror. It reflects where you haven't yet grown, not where you're meant to stay. You don't need to wait for fear to vanish to take the leap. You need to decide that your vision, your purpose, your destiny is greater than your hesitation. When you act as if fear has no place in your life, you begin to reshape your mind, rebuild your identity, and rewire your reality. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop settling and start leading. Because bold action doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. Every courageous step is a vote for your future self. And with every choice, you cast a ballot for power, purpose, and progress. The life you want is not waiting on fear to lead, it's waiting on you to rise. So act now, not as someone controlled by fear, but as someone who commands it. Not as someone hoping to succeed, but as someone already walking in victory. Live, move, speak, and lead as if fear has no voice. And watch how the world begins to respond, not to who you were, but to who you've dared to become.